Good evening, I'm Dan Wolf.
And I'm Laura Lee. Thanks for joining us. Duluth's new mayor is asking city councilors to rethink future plans for the Duluth Public Library.
Now, during last night's agenda session, Mayor Reiner laid out his legislative priorities for the year ahead. They include funding to reconceptualize the downtown library project. Now, Reiner wants to move away from former Mayor Emily Larson's $70 million plan to turn the library into a multi-purpose community center.
Northern News Now's Cara Cobb takes a look at Reiner's vision and has reaction to it.
The downtown Duluth Public Library is a special space for many in our community.
You know, the library is essentially like a living room to the community.
And since last year, the city has been working to give Duluth's living room an update.
And so the previous administration had envisioned tearing down the current downtown library facility to create a multi-use community center.
A project dreamt up by former Mayor Emily Larson that could cost up to $75 million. Something current Mayor Roger Reiner thought was too spendy for just a library remodel. So he's pitching something else.
They would like to explore maybe expanding the concept to include housing and retail.
Reiner asking the city council to put a pause on the project for now, wanting everyone to think of all the possibilities of what could be included on top of the footprint for a library space and meeting rooms.
We're taking a step back to say, what should that future be? But in order to figure out what our next path should be, we need to complete a planning study that would show, here are the options and here's the best course of action.
So the goal is to seek $500,000 from the legislature in the upcoming session to pay for the planning study looking into this new concept for the library. The study necessary with so many details to figure out.
How does the ownership structure work? Would it still be publicly owned? Is it part of a private development? All those details we're pretty far away from at this point.
All questions that will determine the future for one of the city's largest public facilities.
It's a highly used facility, and seeing how that will work into the plans is exciting. But I think there's a lot we need to explore.
In Duluth, Cara Cobb, Northern News Now.
And Duluth City Council will vote Monday on Reiner's funding request.